Hello ARAB150 classmates. My name is Shayna Pat. I signed up for Week 5 Languages, Literary Works, and Architecture of the Arab World. For my presentation, I will be focusing on the different aspects of mosque architecture and, in particular, a famous mosque in the city of Medina in Saudi Arabia. Without further ado, let me first introduce myself. My name, as I said before, is Shayna Pat. I'm from Park Ridge, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. I am a sophomore here at the University of Illinois, and I have just declared my double major in marketing and management with a focus in entrepreneurship. I am taking this course to cover a non-Western general education course, while at the same time I am very interested in the subject matter. With what's going on in the world currently, it is important for us to be educated on the truth of what Islamic culture and Arab culture as a whole means, and not to be blinded by what the media may be saying. I hope my presentation can help you learn a bit more about Islam through the architecture of mosques, and I can personally say that I have thoroughly enjoyed watching the presentation so far and have learned a lot from you all. Now I'd like to give you an overview of my whole project. As I said before, I'll be focusing on the architecture of mosques. If you know nothing about mosques, as I didn't before I began this project, I'm sure you'll learn a lot of new information. Even if you are Muslim and go to a mosque on a regular basis, you may still learn some things that you never knew about mosques of the world. First, I'll talk about the roots of the mosque, dating back to Muhammad himself. Next, I'll talk about the courtyard, also called the san. After that, I'll move on to the mihrab, the minaret, and the kuba. These things translate to the niche, the tower, and the dome. I'll then supplement these aspects of mosques with information on additional aspects of different mosques. Finally, I'll discuss the history of Al-Masjid an-Nabawi, or the Prophet's Mosque. I will show how the aspects of architecture I have previously taught you about are shown in this Prophet's Mosque. Now, let me talk about our first topic, which is the roots of the mosque. A mosque, which is called a masjid in Arabic, literally meaning place of prostration, is the common gathering place for prayer. While generally the 5 daily prayers of Islam can take place anywhere, the Friday noon prayer must be conducted in a mosque by all males. The Prophet Muhammad's home was considered the first ever mosque. His home, which was in Medina of what is now Saudi Arabia, had a large courtyard with many long rooms leading off of it. These rooms were separated by columns. While certain aspects of his home may or may not be represented in every mosque, there is one thing that is: the courtyard. As I've made clear so far, the courtyard is very important to every mosque. The courtyard usually adjoins to the prayer hall, which together must be designed to hold the entire male population of the city or town that it is in, along with any women who choose to come to Friday prayer as well. In the courtyard, there is often a fountain. As we know, the areas where the Islamic faith are most prominent are very hot and dry year-round. This fountain provides those at the mosque with a bit of relief from the heat. Not only that, but the fountain is important in the ablutions, or ritual cleansing, that is done before prayer. In this slide, you can see the Jame Mosque of Isfahan city in Iran with a beautiful fountain in the center of its courtyard, as well as a man either cooling off or cleansing himself next to it. Now I am going to talk about the mihrab, or the niche. This niche in the wall is essential in mosque architecture. It is essential because it always points towards Mecca. As we have learned in class, Mecca is the city in which the Prophet Muhammad was born. Not only does the mihrab point towards the city where the Prophet was born, but also to the Kaaba, which is the cube-shaped building which is built around a sacred black stone. This stone is said to symbolize the covenant between Allah, Abraham, Ishmael, and the Muslim community as a whole. All prayers are said facing Mecca, and thus this niche is very important. The wall that holds the mihrab is called the Qibla wall, because Mecca is also called the Qibla. To the side you can see a beautiful example of a mihrab in a mosque in Turkey. Another architectural design present in almost all mosques is called the minaret. Minaret means tower. This tower is either attached to or adjacent to the mosque. 5 times a day, Muslims are summoned to worship by a call, usually from the top of the minaret. The first call from the tower calls those of the Islamic faith to worship, and a second call signals that they should line up for prayers to start. In the modern world, loudspeakers have begun to be installed for the purpose of calling everyone to worship. As I have previously mentioned, it is not required that Muslims attend prayers at the mosque 5 times a day, but that they may pray elsewhere all days but Friday at noon, if they are male. Prayers are held 5 times a day at mosques, and those who wish to attend may do so. On this slide, you can see the Nur Astana Mosque in Kazakhstan, which has multiple minarets. Another architectural detail common in mosques is one or more kubas, or domes. While having a dome is not a requirement, like the niche in the wall is, it can still hold a lot of meaning in a mosque. The dome symbolizes the vault that is heaven. Often these domes are adorned with beautiful artwork and designs, such as the one pictured. Some mosques may have multiple domes, while others have one, and still others may have none. In the case where there is only one dome in a mosque, it is always over the top of the Qibla wall, since this wall is the holiest place in the mosque. The picture on this slide is a dome in the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, Turkey. In addition to all of the aspects most common to mosques that I have already described, there are also some other elements. For example, there is often a large frieze or decorative band at the top of a wall, most often the Qibla wall, inscribed with an Arabic script. Usually, these scripts are from the Quran, and sometimes include the date that the building was dedicated and the name of whom it was dedicated for. An example of a frieze is pictured on the top left from the Sultan Hassan's Mosque in Cairo, Egypt. Another feature in mosques that stems from tradition are the hanging lamps. Nowadays, of course, we have electricity, but before electricity, people relied on the oil lamps hanging from the ceilings of mosques to provide light for the earliest and latest prayers, when the sun was not out. Shown on the bottom left of this slide are lamps, again in the Sultan Hassan's Mosque in Cairo, Egypt. Finally, mosques can sometimes have other buildings either attached or associated with them. Islam is a very giving faith, and thus there are often things like hospitals and soup kitchens attached to them. Not only that, but some mosques include tombs or mausoleums within their walls or nearby. One of the most famous examples of this is the Taj Mahal in India. The actual building we think of when we think Taj Mahal is in fact a mausoleum for the favorite wife of Shah Jahan, who was an emperor in the Mughal Empire. The Taj Mahal Mosque is a building off to the side of the mausoleum. The mausoleum is pictured on the top right, which is what we think of when we think Taj Mahal, while the Taj Mahal Mosque is on the bottom right. Finally, I'm going to compare what I've taught you to a very famous mosque in Medina, which is in Saudi Arabia. This mosque is called Al-Masjid an-Nabawi, which means the Prophet's Mosque. It is called this because it was built by the Prophet Muhammad. The mosque was adjacent to the home he lived in after moving to Medina from Mecca. As you can see in the top left picture, the courtyard at this mosque is very large to accommodate for the large number of Muslims who go to pray there. An interesting aspect of this courtyard in general are the enormous umbrellas that protect mosque goers from the harsh rays of the sun. On the bottom left, we can see the mihrab or niche, which faces Mecca. Since Mecca is almost directly south of Medina, this mihrab faces south. Finally, on the right, you can see both the famous green dome of Al-Masjid an-Nabawi, but also a few of the minarets pointing skyward. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation on mosque architecture and can see the different aspects appear in this famous mosque, Al-Masjid an-Nabawi. Thanks for watching.